Good girl. Run like the wind. You deserve a rest. Well, Clive, looks like we're gonna need an even bigger sword. Nice try. This one. This one. It should have stayed in its shell. there's talk.
How the hell is anyone supposed to afford that?
Did you hear? The gates to heaven.
I want to see you again. It's all right.
What am I going to do without Sweetwater and Olive Talc?
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it?
The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. Goat will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us.
Run like the wind.
You deserve a rest. It's the same as the one back at the hideaway. Doesn't seem to be working, though.
Careful.
Good girl.
Fly, Ambrosia.
Mistakes. Well, it's certainly quiet. If I were a giant antelope, it would seem like just the place. Yeah, we'll find one bigger than that. You hungry, Torgal? Now, will it be enough, I wonder? I say that answers my question, which means we owe the lawsmen our thanks. You're just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy. You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy. Now feel good, boy.
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off somewhere. So, Molly's leftovers weren't good enough, eh? That'll teach me for treating you like you're still a pup. All right, no need to shout. Now we know what you're after, I can see about getting some in.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later. Can I leave it with you?
You can, aye. I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me.
I was just on my way to see him.
Ah, Clark, were you able...
We weren't.
Very good.
Lady Karen.
Do you recall...
About
Precisely that. The Fenrir and Wilder...
what do you suggest?
That Torgal consider, in short, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate in...
Is that the thing Tomes helped with?
Nid told me she was building a ship.
Goat. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
About that, but she was just too stubborn to take. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with... Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty... You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it...
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh! So you remember what's owed to you, then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
You have, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
Huh. I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died? 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that, on account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have. People take notice of wealthy men. Shouldn't be too hard to track down Karen's collector.
The whole mother crystal gone. What are we gonna do?
Calm yourself. We don't know for sure.
My reputation will be ruined! Ruined!
Calm yourself, Lord Ignac, I beg of you, before you do yourself a mischief.
Pardon the intrusion, but...
Out! Get out! I paid for these rooms so I wouldn't be disturbed. Leave me be!
Please, allow me to apologize. His lordship is going through a difficult time, and he's never been fond of guests arriving unannounced.
Radim! Get rid of the filthy oaf this instant!
Very good, Lord Ignac. Would you mind stepping outside for a moment?
I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
That? Oh, no. That's just how his lordship is. Though the morning's events have left him somewhat fractious. He has been dispossessed of his luggage, you see. The thieves also made away with a considerable amount of coin. Coin the innkeeper will soon be keen to collect.
I don't suppose a certain blade was among the stolen items. A single-edged sword. It was purchased from a merchant friend of mine.
Ah, you know Lady Karen. Yes, I'm afraid it was.
Then I'll retrieve Lord Ignac's luggage. But I have one condition.
You have but to state it. You are welcome to anything that is within my power to grant.
I want an audience with Lord Ignac. A few minutes should be enough. Then I'll be on my way.
A condition I would be a fool to refuse. Of course, you shall have your audience.
I don't suppose you saw where the thieves went?
I did not, no. Though some discreet inquiries made on his lordship's behalf mean that I know where you might find them. The bandit's bed. Every ill-gotten coin in Dalamil is said to pass through that disreputable corner of the Valcroy.
And that's where I'm heading.
I shall speak to Lord Ignac in your absence, and arrange for an audience upon your triumphant return.
That will be very kind of you.
Farewell, and best of luck.